Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. Poem number 2 in class 10 in your subject English. Prepared and presented by VGR. Fire and Ice. About the poet. This poem was written by Robert Frost. His full name is Robert Lee Frost. He was born on March 26, 1874, San Francisco in California, and was died at January 29, 1963, at the age of 88 in Boston, Massachusetts. Notable awards. He won 4 times the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry and even Congressional Gold Medal and Boligan Prize too. Here you can able to see the picture of the Pulitzer Prize. His notable work, A Boy's Will, North of Boston, New Hampshire, and so on. So here you can able to see the picture of the cover page of New Hampshire book. Robert Frost's most famous poems. There are so many poems he has written. Most of the poems are considered to be famous. Among them, The Road Not Taken, Beaches, Fire and Ice, Mending Wall, Home Burial, The Death of the Hired Man, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Acquainted with the Night, etc. So the only poet who received 4 Pulitzer Prize for poetry, he became one of America's rare public literary figure, almost an artistic institution. Frost was named Poet Laureate of Vermont. This poem, Fire and Ice, is taken from the collection of poems in the book New Hampshire, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1924. Here you can see the picture of the poet Robert Frost. Background about the poem. Fire and Ice is one of Frost's best known and most anthologized poems. It was published in December 1920 in Harper's Magazine and in 1923 in his Pulitzer Prize winning book New Hampshire. Fire and Ice is a popular poem by Robert Frost that discusses the end of the world, likening the element force of fire with the emotion of desire and ice with hate. One of Frost's biographers, Fire and Ice, was inspired by a passage in Canto 32 of an Italian poet Dante in his book Dante's Inferno, in which the worst offenders of hell, the traitors, are submerged up to their necks in ice while in a fiery hell. A lake so bound with ice, or it did not look like water but like a glass, right clear, I saw, where sinners are preserved in ice. These are the words from the book Dante Inferno. Here you can able to see the picture of the writer Robert Frost and the cover page of the book A Divine Comedy of Dante's Inferno. Now about the poem, the background again. In an anecdote he recounted in 1960 in a Science and the Arts presentation, prominent astronomer Harlow Shapley claims to have inspired Fire and Ice. So Harlow Shapley is an astronomer. At the program of Science and the Arts presentation, he's recounted the anecdote, the story here. Shapley describes an encounter he had with Frost a year before the poem was published, in which Frost, noting that Shapley was the astronomer of his day, asked him how the world will end. So Shapley responded that either the sun will explode and incinerate the earth, or the Earth will somehow escape this fate only to end up slowly freezing in deep space. Shapley was surprised at seeing fire and ice in a print a year later and referred to it as an example of how science can influence the creation of art or clarify its meaning. So here also you can able to see the cover page of Dante's Inferno book. After the meeting of Harlow Shapley and his response about the science and art presentation program, he come to know that Earth will end whether in the form of fire or in the ice. He was impressed, and the result or effect of Dante's Inferno as here. In a 1999 article, John N. Sirio claims that the poem is a compression of Dante's Inferno. So he's telling that after reading the book Dante's Inferno, that book impressed Robert Frost, and that's the reason he used to write this poem Fire and Ice. So he also compared that he draws a parallel between the 9 lines of the poem with the 9 rings of the hell, and notes that, like the downward funnel of the rings of hell, the poem narrows considerably in the last 2 lines. So here in you have able to see a picture of the Dante's Inferno, the 9 circles of hell. So here the 9 circles of the hell is compared to the 9 lines of the poem that he introduced in the poem Fire and Ice. So additionally you can able to see the rhyme scheme as ABA, ABC, BCB. So he remarks is similar to the one Dante invented for Inferno. So how Dante invented the 9 circles for the hell as in the Inferno book, same manner in his poem Fire and Ice, he introduced the rhyme scheme in 9 lines. Frost's diction further highlights the parallels between Frost's discussion of desire and hate with Dante's outlook on sins of passion and reason with sensuous and physical verbs describing desire and loosely recalling the characters Dante met in the upper rings of hell, like taste, recalling the glutton, hold, recalling the adulterous lovers, and favor, recalling the hoarders. In contrast, hate is discussed with the verbs of reason and thought, like I think, I know, to say. These words is the hold, in contrast with the ice, that is hate. Now we are moving on to the central idea or theme of the poem, fire and ice. The poem Fire and Ice by Robert Frost revolves around the theme that human emotions are destructive when allowed to run amok. Amok means out of control. They can destroy a person morally, mentally, and physically. The poet impresses upon the readers the destructive result of bearing ill feeling like greed, avarice, lust, conflict, fury, hatred, intolerance, etc. Hatred and power of emotions are the major theme of the poem. The poet discusses the destructive futures of human emotions. He uses the symbol of fire and ice to show how desires and hatred contribute to making the world stand at the verge of chaos. Also, these powerful emotions will eventually drag the world toward a catastrophic end. Now is the Fire and Ice poem introduction. Robert Frost's poem Fire and Ice expresses the profound idea that the world would end in either of two ways, either by ice or fire. Both the components are compared with self-destructing human emotions. That means desire and hatred. The poem very artistically underpins the philosophy that we let our emotions rule us, and if don't control them, they will surely destroy everything around us. Similarly, he thinks fire and ice both are just as component in bringing the world to a catastrophic end. Now we enter into the poem, stanza 1. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Here, tasted means experienced. Metaphorically, the poet used the word tasted. Desire here means wish. Hold here means to take side or favor of. Yeah, the opinion of the writer. And favor here means supported, yeah, approved or inclined towards. So in this stanza, we come to know the rhyme scheme like fire, desire, fire. We have given A, and for ice we have given B. So in the first stanza, A, B, A, A. Here you can see the picture about the earth, the world that is ending with fire as well as ending in the ice. Stanza 1. The poet considers the age-old question of whether the world will end in fire or in ice. He is analyzing about the end of the world. If we see the holy books like Quran, the Bible, or the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindus' holy books, you can see in all the books they have informed about the earth will end in fire or in ice. In Bible, if you see, already God has used the water to destroy the earth, and they believe that in the second time he used the fire to destroy to make an end of the life in earth. In the same manner, in Quran also have the same idea. In Bhagavad Gita also have the same idea. So this is an age-old question of people, those who are living in the world. So now the poet is going to analyze about the end of the world. What may be the end of the world, whether it is end in fire or in ice. So the poet provides and deals with the two possible causes for the end of the world. Both the two reasons contrast each other and are equally opposite to each other. On one side of the debate are those people who are in favor of fire. So here they believe that it will be the heat and the passion which will lead the humanity, the world to end. So here the poet expresses not by his own opinion, he is expressing the idea through the debate or some of the people. That's why he used the sentence some say. It is not the only opinion of the writer, it is the opinion of the whole people in the world. If among the people, some of them are saying that it is end with fire. And the other side of the debate are those who favor ice and feel that it will be the ice which will freeze the world. So in this world, some few opposite debaters, they are telling that the world will end with the ice. That means it will freeze, the world will end by freezing because of global warming. The water will rise up and the whole land will be submerged in the water, and it cause a freezing to the all over the world. So all living beings in the world will end. So in this manner, ice will make a end. In other words, either deep heat or fire under the earth beds will lead to natural calamities like volcano eruptions, earthquakes, etc., or tsunami or landslides like that, which will one day end the world, or the melting of the ice from the snowy mountain due to global warming will shrink the world by water, and one day the entire world will die of the icy water. So this is the two way or two reason that some people say. It is not only the opinion of the writer, it is the people of some say. Okay. Here you can able to see the picture of the fire and ice, which is contrast. Here contradiction is given. It is contrast of two ideas, heat and the cold. Frost is providing a powerful statement on the subject of greed and jealous. He's saying that above all else, even hatred, which is the pride of humanity, is most likely to lead to its demise. To Frost, desire represents the greatest problem that the world faces. So here the writer compares the fire to desire. So desire is considered to be the greatest problem that the world faces today. So desire is a kind of intense love or want that focuses people on getting and possessing and acquiring. So this kind of desire can lead people to destruction. So the poet then compares fire and ice with the destructive future of human emotions like desire and hatred. So he says that from what he is aware about fiery desires, he would favor the ones who say that it would be fire. By saying so, he brings about the idea that human beings let their emotions rule them, and the consequences of unmonitored longing is chaos. So by telling these ideas, the writer is favor of fire. He is now opening his opinion in front of the readers that he is favor of the fire. Okay, in the first stanza. Stanza 2. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, eyes is also great and would suffice. So here, perish means die or destroy. Suffice means enough or be sufficient. So here you can able to see the rhyme scheme. Twice A, eyes A, suffice A. Hate B, great B. So the rhyme scheme for the second stanza is A, B, A, B, A. Okay. In the first stanza we able to see 4 lines, and in the second stanza you can see in the form of 5 lines. So 5 plus 4, 9 lines. So Dante's Inferno, 9 lines is clear here. Here you can able to see the picture of the ice, frozen, and the fire and ice. The poet is very much sure of the destruction of the humanity. He first talks about the destruction caused by fire. In case this fails, then ice will result into hatred that will end humanity one day. Frost goes on to discuss in a more understated manner the power of hate, which is symbolized in the poem by ice. Hate, according to the speaker, is just as powerful as desire. While desire consumes quickly, hate is just as great and powerful. In fact, by ending the poem with the concept of hate, Frost directs the reader to the shy yet restrained devastation that hate can produce. Hate can occur and finger in people's minds and hearts for years, sometimes even lifetimes. Hate consumes a hater perhaps even more than the person or group hated. It can ruin lives. Hate is destructive and sinful. Hate is presented as having the ability to lead to the destruction of the world if it were to happen for a second time, again providing a powerful warning against this human fallacy. Then, by not waving off the first option of fire, he considers if the world has to expire twice, ice would be equally competent in ending it. He brings about a contrast between ice and hatred. The human capability of insensitivity and hatred has the potential for inner destruction. Though slow and steady, it has the same effect that desire has on us. So, if given an option between fire and ice, ice would be just as good as fire to destroy the world. Here you can able to understand the symbolize of fire and ice. Fire symbolize the desire and ice symbolize the hatred. Fire represents the humans' greed, the conflict among them, the fury, the cruelty, the lust, avarice, anger, evil are all comes under the desire, which creates the desire. These are the reasons to create the desire and which equals to the word fire here. And insensitivity, coldness, intolerance, indifference, rigidity, hatred are the reasons to make hatred among the human beings, where the writer compared the hatred towards ice. So these are the fire and ice symbolizes among the human beings' behavior. These are the reasons which makes hatred among the human being, and these are the reasons that makes a desire among the human beings, and these desire will make one day end of this world, otherwise it will make an end of the ice. Now we are entering into the literary or poetic devices used in this poem. Allusion is used in this poem. Allusion means it is a brief and indirect reference to a person or a place, thing or idea of historical, cultural, literary or political significance. Here you can able to identify the writer have used in the first line and first and second line like some say, some say. So in this line we come to know that it is not the writer's opinion. First of all, it is a people's opinion, or the group of people say it is about fire and some group of people are telling about ice. So here you can, the poet create an allusion in the poem. The style and structure of the poem is written in single 9-line stanza, which greatly narrows in the last 2 lines. The poem's meter is an irregular mix of iambic, tetrameter, and dimeter. And the rhyme scheme, which is ABA, ABC, BCB, suggests but departs from the rigorous pattern of Dante's terza rima. So the rhyme scheme here is ABA, ABC, BCB. Another technique used in the poem is alliteration. You know that alliteration is the repetition of a constant sound at the start of two or more closely placed words. Like yes, some say yes, yes, and the word will end in fire, and again some say, here you can see yes, yes in ice. I hold with those who favor fire, F, F. So here you can identify the sound F in favor fire, and word will WW, and some say yes, yes. So these are repeating the consonant sound in this line. So alliteration is used in the poem. Another technique is assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sound in the same line. The repetition is at different places in different words here. Like the sound O and I is repeated in the sentence like I think, I know. So I is repeating here. I hold with those who favors fire. So here you can able to see the vowel sound I and O is repeating. So assonance is also used. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or expression at the start of two or more consecutive lines. So in the first line it is started with the some say, in the second line also it started with some say. So anaphora technique is also used by the writer in this poem, Fire and Ice. Next technique is the personification. Personification, is to give human qualities to inanimate object. That means the human quality is compared to an inanimate object. So here in this poem you come to know that fire and ice are capable of destruction. Thus, the poet personifies fire and ice by giving them mind and power to destroy anything. So here personification is used in the poem. And another technique is enjambment. Enjambment means it is defined as the thought or clause that does not come to an end at a line break. Rather, it moves over to the next line. So in the line, if you come across, you won't find any break or any punctuations in between the lines. So without any punctuations or without any break, the sentence is finishing in the form of two lines. So enjambment technique is used in this poem, Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice. Next technique is paradox. But if it had to perish twice, so perish twice, he is using paradox here. Symbolism, here symbolism, he using the human's emotions. It should be compared with the fire as desire and ice as a symbol for hate. So human emotions, this fire and desire, the desire is the emotion of the human, hate is a emotion, a feeling of a human. These feelings, these emotions of the human is compared with the fire and ice. So symbolism is clearly you can identify in this poem. Next technique is imagery. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, some say the world will end in fire, to say that for destruction is also great. So here fire and ice carry deep connotations. Fire elicits the feeling of heat and light, but also burning and pain. In the same manner, ice elicits the feeling of coldness but also indifference and intolerance. So this poetic technique is also used by the writer in the poem. These devices also used in the poem Fire and Ice by the writer. Now again, you can recap or again the summary of the poem. Robert Frost's poem Fire and Ice is a strong symbolic poem where fire is used as the emotion of desire and ice that of hatred. He has used the idea of two groups who have their own possible explanation for the end of the world. You can say is the impression after the program attended by Frost about the science and art, where they have the debate between two groups of people, those who are having their opinion about how the world will end. One is of the opinion that fire alone can destroy each and every possibility of life on earth, while the other thinks that if ice as a result of extreme low temperatures could cover the earth's surface, it would lead to the end of the world. Both the components are compared with self-destructing human emotions, that is, desire and hatred. The poet is originally of the opinion that he has been very closely associated with the fiery desires and considers it capable of bringing human beings on the verge of destruction. That means the writer is on the opinion or the selection of fire as to be the end of the world. Okay, so here poet expresses his own opinion in this fourth line. Thus, he considers fire as more competent for destruction But then he thinks that icy hatred is just as capable of ruining humans, though slowly and steadily. Therefore, if Earth was to end twice, ice would be just as good as fire. So what happens if ice covers the world? It will take slow process, but steadily it will make a numbness among the mind, and all the power will be frozen, freezed. So here he's telling that if the chance perish, then it will be the chance of ice. It would really consider to be a great power to destroy the whole world. If fire would lead to rapid destruction, ice would lead to silent damage. So he's comparing the fire and ice here. Fire will make a rapid destruction, and ice will remain silent, and it will create the damage slowly and steadily. Similarly, if fire is pure passion, ice is pure reason. Thus, the poem very artistically underpins the philosophy that we let our emotions rule us, and if don't control them, they will surely bring us all on the verge of chaos. Thank you. The video Fire and Ice is over. If you like this video, please subscribe it. Thank you once again.